Hello and welcome to another Arkeys video and to a new 2 million credit lap time challenge on Gran Turismo 7. We are at Nurburgring Grand Prix layout and we are in the RE Amemia FD3S RX7 on racing medium tires. I jumped on this time trial right away when it opened, so this is very much a first impressions run. The times will come down further, but I gave it an hour, managed to stay within the top 10, and then I gave it another additional 30 minutes and reclaimed a spot in the top 10. So I hope that I am okay so far, but it's always tricky to predict with these time trials when you jump on early on. We're going to run through a short recap of my first attempts. Then we are going to have a look at some brake markers while watching my best lap within the first hour, and then we are going to look at my final and fastest attempt this morning. And if you are enjoying the content, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It is highly appreciated. Now let's get into this one. And as you will see, this is 7 minutes past 9. This opened at 9 o'clock where I live, so this is very fresh. We are picking up the price for the previous time trial, and now we are getting ready to jump into this one for the first time. And this is going to be a quick recap of the first hour on this one. This is my very first attempt on this. Luckily, it seems like the usual brake markers roughly work for this car as well. And we're just trying to make our way around this first sector. Is a tricky one in most cars, and especially in this one, as it is a bit of a slidey one. And you need to be careful on the power on the exits. And we are going to jump ahead in this because we don't want to watch the entire lap. We are coasting into this corner, trying to get back onto the power. We are still getting the car around fairly okay, considering this is the first attempt. And can we get up the hill? I am exiting in second gear. I'm learning later that third gear is the gear to go for. I had a slight suspicion that this car could be a short shifter. I remember, if not this car, at least a similar car from a Tsukuba Daily Race A, and that needed short shifting, but I don't know yet, and I just went in blind without a ghost, so this was just to get a feel for the car. But we are making our way towards the end of the lap, and you can see I am generally being very cautious with this car, and yeah, it almost snapped on me there still. So this is a not very fast 2:08.263, and that was not enough for gold even at this early stage. So now we have watched a replay, and I saw that you indeed have to do some short shifting in this car. We are getting it slowed down. I'm only using a bit of first gear for rotating the car, and we are quickly jumping ahead towards the end of the lap. And you'll see I am exiting the chicane in second gear at the moment. Later on I will learn that third gear actually might be the better gear for this, even though it can feel a bit slow at first. But it's good to avoid that extra gear change once you are building speed again. But we are now across the line in a 2:05.520, so that was a big chunk of the time. And on the following lap I messed up the chicane. We are getting the lap invalidated, and we are just parking the car at the side of the track. So that's 13 minutes in. Now we've got a gold time. It's an early doors gold, so I know we need to think about that as well. We carry on making our way out of this first very tricky sector, and we are jumping straight to the chicane. This time I tried to exit the chicane in third gear. I was having a feeling that might work out better. I didn't get it right at that attempt because I still had to lift off quite a bit because I almost went off the track. But it feels like once you can get the line right, that's the way to go. We are down to a 2:05.028, and here I just get too greedy on the exit, end up in the gravel, get the lap invalidated, so we are parking the car. Now we've done 22 minutes of this time trial, and we are just skipping forward. I slowly get more comfortable with the car and with the track, and yeah, sort of learning how to get carefully on the power. Even though you have already short shifted to a higher gear, you still need to be careful Here I am short shifting to 4th gear while I'm still off the power coming through that Schumacher S's, and we shave off another full second of the time. We're down to a 2:04.041, and we just carry on. The chicane is a bit of a gamble, and it is in every car. It's rather tricky, but this time we get the car a tiny bit more stable and manage to build some speed towards the end of the lap, using 2nd gear just for rotating the car back up to 3rd for the exit. Still a bit slidey on the curb, but now we are down to a 2:03.659, and we've done around 45 minutes now. It's time to have a look at some brake markers as well as my best attempt within the first hour. The first brake marker is this darker piece of tarmac at the side of the track just before the grass. I use that as an early warning. I need to make sure to get on the brakes in time. We are going all the way down to 1st gear just for a bit of rotation, back up to 2nd, but you can see I'm being a bit careful coming back onto the power. The car can get a bit unstable. You can use that end of the curb on the inside for a lift-off marker for this corner. You almost don't need to brake. I'm short shifting to 3rd, but still need to modulate the throttle a bit to not get too much understeer. Once that barrier at the left-hand side disappears from your screen, you need to be on the brakes while pointing the car a bit towards the corner. But I'm aiming for a late apex on the left-hand side to open up the corner. Short shifting to 3rd gear, and still being careful getting on the power so I don't run wide. The next one is an easy one. I'm looking for the edge of where the endurance and the short layout go off to the right. Onto the brakes, down to 3rd gear, let the car coast into this corner, and at the start of the curb on the inside we are braking once again, going down to 2nd gear, releasing the brakes, getting the rotation, but back up to 3rd for the exit. Make sure you don't run wide. You need to make sure the car is pointing in the right direction before you go fully on the power. And this is an easy one as well. The start of that gray curb on the outside, hard onto the brakes, pointing the car a bit towards the inside, down to 2nd for the rotation, up to 3rd, but look, as I am still being careful with the power, and I didn't really get the car pointed where I want to. This is a bit of an afterthought, but the end of that fence is a good lift-off marker, and as I lift off, I try to go up to 4th gear so I don't waste time with the gear change delay while being fully on the power. And that was not the most elegant attempt, but we survived it. And roughly around the end of the lighter gray bit, I am onto the brakes. You don't really need to go all the way down to 2nd gear, but I tend to do it sometimes for a bit more rotation, but definitely exiting in 3rd gear. The end of the curb on the right hand side, I'm braking just a tiny bit and just let the car coast and let it rotate by itself so you can get it pointed the right direction. That has always been a tricky corner for me. And now we've got the chicane to go and the final corner. Of course, I'm braking somewhere between where the tarmac gets a bit more dark gray and the 100 board, roughly in the middle between those two. And we are down to 2nd for rotating the car in, but quickly back up to 3rd. And I got a bit sideways, the car got a bit jumpy, so not the best attempt, but 3rd gear feels like the gear to go for. The end of the white and red barrier just before it turns into gray on the left hand side is my marker for this corner. I used 2nd for a bit of rotation, but 3rd for the exit. And now we are going across the line in a 2:03.372. And that was the end of my first hour. But we've got a final attempt and a final improvement incoming. I had a cup of coffee and went for another half an hour and another 60 kilometers. And this is the final attempt in the video. We are taking it at full speed, no breaking down of this lap. So braking at the darker bit of the tarmac and using 1st for a bit of rotation, back up to 2nd, and be careful the car doesn't get too oversteery. I'm just modulating the throttle to make sure I don't get too much understeer. Braking and down to 2nd gear. We are going to short shift just as we lift off for a bit of direction change, and exiting in 3rd gear Now we're looking for the end of the runoff for the shorter layout. Down to third gear, let the car coast in, and braking again down to second, but back up to third, and being careful to make sure the car is pointed in the right direction before getting fully on the power, otherwise you will go off the track. The start of the grade curve on the left hand side, down to second gear, letting go of the brake, let the car rotate, back up to third for the exit coming up the hill, and as I lift off, I upshift to fourth as well, so I can do the lift off and the upshift at the same time. Almost went off the track there, that got a bit sketchy. Now we're looking for the light gray stuff. Braking, I'm once again using a bit of second gear just to get the car rotated, and this time I'm trying something else. I try to get the line just right and exit this corner in fourth gear, because then I can avoid another gear change. And this is a turbocharged car and it builds a fair bit of boost, and you can see I am gaining a bit at the moment on the Ghost. Now we've got the chicane to go, up to third just before the first apex, and that was a good run. You can see I'm even gaining on Hollow One's Ghost on this one, and we are making our way through the final corner in third gear for the exit, and we are across the line in the 203.150. I might be jinxing it as I say this now, but I think I might be able to sneak into the 202s. But now I will give this a rest, see how far the times drop on this. This is early doors, and you'll never know. I'll go back to this on one of the other accounts and see what I can do from there. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it entertaining, maybe even somewhat useful. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.